You ever notice how mornings are like the universe's way of reminding you that life is just one long running gag? You go to bed thinking you're in control, thinking tomorrow is going to be different. But the minute that alarm clock explodes in your ear, the whole show starts all over again. And it's always the same act, the circus of morning madness. It's not even madness in the sense of chaos. No, it's worse. It's organized madness, ritualized insanity. Everybody's got their little morning dance moves, their sacred morning ceremonies, like we're all part of some worldwide cult of coffee and toothpaste. And nobody questions it. Nobody looks at it and goes, hey, maybe this is ridiculous. No, they just keep doing it like robots. Waking up every day to rehearse the same tired play. Think about alarms for a second. What genius came up with the idea that the best way to start a human day is with a machine screaming in your ear? There's nothing natural about it. Birds wake up to the sun. Flowers open up to the light. Humans, we bolt out of bed because a box on the nightstand is having a seizure. You ever really listen to an alarm? It's not even a sound, it's an assault. It's like the universe slapping you across the face and saying, up, time to go pretend again. And then we act like it's normal, like it's healthy. I can't start my day without my alarm. Well, maybe if you didn't go to bed at 2 in the morning eating leftover pizza and watching reruns of a show you hate, you wouldn't need a damn torture device to yank you into consciousness. And what do people do the second the alarm goes off? They hit snooze or torture produce. Ooh, that's my favorite one. Snooze. Snooze is proof that humans are bargaining with life itself. You can't bargain with time. Time doesn't give a damn about your snooze button. You hit snooze and all you're really saying is, oh, please let me rehearse dying for 9 more minutes before I face reality. That's all snooze is. Practice death. And people love it. They'll hit snooze 3, 4, 5 times. They're late for work, but hey, they died peacefully 5 times before they got there. And then comes the stumbling. Oh, the stumbling? No one gets out of bed gracefully. They don't leap up like athletes in commercials. No. Real people roll out of bed like injured walruses, 1 leg on the ground, 1 leg tangled in the blanket, hair pointing in 17 directions, eyes half closed, drool still fresh. And then in that condition, they try to walk. Walking. Like they've been doing it their whole life. But at 6:30 in the morning, forget it. Suddenly, you're a newborn giraffe. Bumping into the doorframe, tripping over the dog, swearing at the carpet because it had the audacity to exist. And then comes the bathroom routine. Oh, the bathroom. That's where the morning madness hits its peak. You've got 20 minutes to transform yourself from a drooling, farting, confused mammal into something that looks employable. And the tools we use: water, soap, sharp objects, and chemicals. What could possibly go wrong? Half asleep, we're sticking razor blades to our throats? Who came up with that one? The morning. Here's a sharp object, drag it across your neck until you're bleeding slightly less than a murder victim. And people do it daily, like it's just another little morning tradition. A shave, nick, tissue paper dot, repeat. And don't get me started on toothpaste. Toothpaste is a whole ritual of its own. They sell it like it's holy water. Whitening, fresh breath, cavity protection. You ever look at toothpaste commercials? They act like brushing your teeth is a religious experience. Smiling models foaming at the mouth like they're auditioning for a rabies awareness campaign. Meanwhile, in reality, brushing your teeth at 6 in the morning feels like trying to scrub barnacles off a boat with a wet sock. And every time you spit into the sink like you've just exorcised a demon. Then comes the shower. The shower is supposed to be refreshing. But what do people do? They stand there half awake, letting water hit them while they zone out like statues. And you know what everyone thinks in the shower? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just blank stares and the occasional thought like, did I pay the phone bill? Then you forget it immediately and go back to staring at the wall. And people call it cleansing. It's not cleansing. It's just standing in hot rain indoors while contemplating your existence. But the crown jewel of morning madness, coffee. Coffee is the king. Coffee is the holy grail. Humanity has built an entire religion around boiling beans. People say they can't even function without it. Imagine admitting that your whole personality doesn't start until you drink bean juice. And not just any bean juice, scalding, bitter, overpriced bean juice. and they make a ritual out of it. Grinding, brewing, pouring, sipping, like it's a sacred potion. And the faces people make before their first cup. Zombies. Utter zombies. Don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. Well, if you're that fragile before 7 a.m., maybe you don't deserve to be spoken to at all. And don't pretend people drink coffee for the taste. Nobody likes the taste the first time. Coffee tastes like burnt dirt water. But people force themselves into the addiction because society tells them they need it, and then they brag about it. I can't live without my coffee. That's not a personality trait, that's a dependency. You don't sound sophisticated, you sound like a junkie with a mug. And of course, some people take it further. They've got their travel mugs, their thermoses, their French presses, their espresso machines, their pour-overs. Coffee isn't even about caffeine anymore, it's about identity. I'm a cappuccino person. I'm a latte person. Nobody says I'm a water person. Nobody takes pride in hydration. No, they need something exotic, a triple soy half-calf with foam. Foam is the part of milk cows try to get rid of. And now it's $5 extra. And while all this is happening, people are rushing. Rushing to work, rushing to school, rushing to get ready. But rushing where? To jobs they hate, schools they dread, and traffic that doesn't move. Morning madness is just one big rehearsal for stress. And people act like it's normal. This is just life. No, it's not life. It's a system designed to make you forget you're alive. Because if you were really alive, you wouldn't be running around half awake, spilling coffee on your shirt, cursing at the toaster, and tying your shoes in a panic. You'd actually stop and go, wait a second. Why the hell am I doing this every day? And breakfast? Oh, don't forget breakfast. The most important meal of the day, that's what they told you. They drilled it into your head, but you know who told you that? Cereal companies, that's right. They just wanted to sell you little colored marshmallows and pretend it was nutrition. And people bought it. They still do. Eating sugar-coated nonsense at 7 a.m. like it's brain food. Then they wonder why they crashed by 10 o'clock. Oh, I need another coffee. Yeah, because you started your day with candy disguised as flakes. And the clothing ritual. Every morning, people stand in front of their closet like they're facing a life-or-death decision. What should I wear? You're going to sit in a cubicle. It doesn't matter, nobody cares. But still, people act like the right pair of socks will change the outcome of their entire existence. Matching ties, ironing shirts, polishing shoes, all this preparation just to sit at a desk staring at a glowing rectangle while pretending to tie. And then comes the commute, the great pilgrimage. Millions of people squeezing into cars, buses, and trains all at the same time, all going the same direction, like lemmings on a highway. Traffic jams every morning at the same exact spots. Nobody learns, nobody adapts. Just honking, sighing, and listening to the same dumb radio hosts making the same dumb jokes. And they call it the morning rush. Morning rush. Nobody's rushing, everyone's crawling. Morning crawl, more like it. But they keep doing it every day. As if the definition of sanity is repeating the same misery and expecting a different outcome. And you know what's really funny? The whole thing repeats. Tomorrow, same alarm, same snooze, same stumble, same coffee, same commute. Over and over until the calendar runs out. It's not a routine, it's a rerun. Life has become a sitcom with no laugh track. Just you trying to find your keys while spilling orange juice on your tie. The truth is, mornings aren't madness because they're chaotic. They're madness because they're the same. Repetition is insanity with better marketing. People convince themselves they need it. It's my routine. No, it's your prison schedule. It just doesn't have bars. But you don't question it because everyone else is in the same prison, yawning and sipping coffee in the next cell. And once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. The morning isn't a fresh start. It's just life pressing the reset button on your hamster wheel. And if you really think about it, the funniest part of all this is simple. People go through all this madness just to make it to the evening, where they collapse on a couch, stare at another glowing rectangle, and prepare to do the same madness all over again tomorrow. That's your morning, folks. A rehearsal for the rest of your life with a soundtrack of alarms, coffee slurps, and curses at the mirror. Evenings, oh boy, evenings are the greatest trick ever pulled on the human race. They sell you this idea that after the long, hard, grueling day, you finally get to relax. That's the word they use, relax. But let me tell you something, nobody's relaxing. What people are doing in the evenings isn't relaxation, it's recovery. There's a difference. Relaxation is a choice, recovery is triage. By the time people drag themselves home, they don't look like folks entering a sanctuary. They look like survivors crawling out of a mine shaft. They collapse on couches, not because they're serene, but because their bodies have shut down out of self-defense. You ever see someone walk through their front door after work? Keys drop on the counter. Shoes kicked into the wall, bag thrown in some random corner. They don't gracefully unwind, they disintegrate. The whole place turns into a crime scene of exhaustion. Jacket here, socks there, tie hanging from a lamp. Someone half collapsed in the hallway mumbling at dinner. That's not relaxation, that's survival instincts telling your body, we made it out alive. Now go horizontal before the floor eats you. And what's the first thing people do to relax? They turn on the television. The glowing rectangle in the corner becomes the altar of the evening ritual. People call it unwinding, but it looks more like hypnosis. Eyes glazed, mouths half open, brains slowly leaking out of their ears. The television isn't relaxation, it's sedation. It doesn't soothe you, it stuns you. It takes a brain that's been fried all day and tosses it into neutral. Click, 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 hundreds of channels, nothing on, but you keep clicking. Not because you're entertained, but because you're too tired to admit you're bored. And the commercials. Evenings are full of commercials telling you how to relax. They show smiling couples on beaches, sipping drinks, laughing like idiots. Meanwhile, you're in sweatpants on a couch that smells like pizza grease, scratching yourself and wondering if you have the energy to move 6 feet to the fridge. And the commercials make you feel worse. They don't relax you. They remind you you're failing at relaxing. Look at these beautiful people having fun. Meanwhile, you're holding a remote with potato chip dust all over it like it's a scepter of shame. Food plays a big role in the evening illusion. People say, I'll treat myself tonight, I deserve it. And what do they treat themselves with? Buckets of fried nonsense, greasy boxes of frozen bricks disguised as meals. The evening diet is one long apology letter to your digestive system. Dear stomach, sorry about this, but it's been a rough day. You order food that looks delicious for 5 minutes, then you regret it for 3 hours. And you do it again tomorrow, because the cycle isn't about nourishment, it's about comfort food, they call it. You ever notice comfort food doesn't comfort you? It attacks you from the inside, then leaves you bloated on the couch, wondering if this is what adulthood was supposed to feel like. And don't forget the beverages. People love their evening drinks. Coffee in the morning, booze at night. No, that's the formula. You spend half the day trying to wake up and the other half trying to pass out. Wine, beer, cocktails, whatever takes the edge off. And people act like it's classy. A glass of wine to unwind. That's not classy, that's chemical assistance. If your idea of relaxation requires a bottle, you're not relaxing. You're negotiating with your nervous system. And then there are the hobbies. People always say, in the evenings I catch up on my hobbies. Really? What hobbies? Most folks don't have hobbies, they have screens. Phones, laptops, televisions, pick your poison. People don't knit, carve, paint, or write. They scroll until their thumbs cramp, and they call it downtime. You're staring at strangers' vacation photos, seething with jealousy while pretending you're unwinding. That's not downtime, that's low-grade emotional torture. You ever notice how evenings are full of lies? People tell themselves, I'll just watch one episode. Sure you will. One episode becomes 3, 3 becomes 6, and suddenly you're in the middle of season 4 wondering how you lost your entire evening to a show about dragons or detectives or a bunch of idiots trapped on an island. And the best part, you don't even like the show that much. But you keep watching because it's easier than making a decision. That's the real drug, passivity, the path of least resistance disguised as entertainment. And what about family time? Evenings are supposed to be family time, right? Everyone gathers around, talks about their day, Bonds. You know what family time looks like now? Everyone in the same room staring at different screens. Mom's on the phone. Dad's watching the news. The kids are playing games. And the dog's licking the carpet because even he's given up. Nobody's connecting, nobody's present. They're just coexisting in a digital soup, and we call it quality time because we're all too guilty to admit it's not. And then comes the guilt. Oh, the evening guilt. You sit there at 9 p.m., stuffed with bad food, dazed from television, surrounded by dirty dishes, and suddenly the brain kicks in. I should have been productive tonight. I should have gone to the gym. I should have read a book. I should have worked on that project. But instead, you're in sweatpants picking crumbs out of your belly button. And the guilt doesn't make you move. No, it just festers until you go to bed promising tomorrow will be different. Spoiler, it won't. And speaking of bed, bedtime is its own farce. People say they're going to bed early. Nobody goes to bed early. They go to bed with the intention of sleeping, then lie there staring at the ceiling while their brain replays every embarrassing moment since third grade. Or worse, they bring the screens to bed. Phones glowing under the covers, scrolling until 2 in the morning, then wondering why they can't fall asleep. You can't relax when your eyeballs are being blasted with light from a 6-inch rectangle. And yet, every night millions of people do it. And every morning they wonder why they feel like death. And what about those self-care rituals, candles, bubble baths, face masks? People set up elaborate evening routines to convince themselves they're pampering their souls. But you know what happens? The candle drips on the table, the bath goes cold, a mask makes you look like a serial killer. And by the end, you're more stressed than when you started. Self-care has turned into another performance. Even your relaxation has to be curated, optimized, Instagram-worthy. It's not relaxation. It's production designed for an audience of none. And exercise. Oh, the evening exercisers. They come home, change into spandex, and hit the gym because they've been told they need to move after sitting all day. And what do? Run on a treadmill, staring at a wall, sweating next to strangers who all look equally miserable. They call it stress relief. It looks like punishment. You're not running toward anything, you're running away from your day. And tomorrow you'll run away again. The treadmill isn't a workout, it's an escape plan that never lets you leave. The truth is, evenings are marketed as this sacred window of freedom. But they're just the prep phase for tomorrow. Everything you do in the evening, eating, cleaning, unwinding, is just maintenance. Laundry, dishes, bills, errands. It's not relaxing, it's unpaid overtime for your own existence. You're the janitor of your own life, sweeping up the mess from the day so you can start fresh in the morning. But they call it winding down, like it's some kind of luxury. And even weekends don't save you. Weekends are supposed to be ultimate relaxation time. You know what weekends really are? Extended evening, same routines, just stretched out. A little more food, a little more television, a little more guilt. By Sunday night, you're in full panic mode, realizing you wasted 2 whole days not relaxing properly. And Monday morning is right there waiting with its alarm clock. The wheel keeps spinning, and evenings are just the illusion that you've stepped off for a breather. And here's the punchline. People spend their whole lives chasing evenings. They live for that moment when they can finally kick off their shoes, sink into the couch, and disappear into nothing. But if that's the highlight of your day, what does that say about the rest of your life? If the best you can hope for is a lukewarm pizza, a half-charged phone, and a rerun of a show you don't even like, maybe the system's broken. Maybe evenings aren't relaxation. Maybe they're just a polite timeout before the madness starts again. So let's stop pretending evenings are sacred. They're not. They're a costume party where exhaustion dresses up as relaxation. You ever notice how people are obsessed with being productive? Like it's the highest form of human achievement. Not love, not joy, not wisdom. No, productivity, that's the gold medal of modern life. Everybody's got their little planners, their calendars, their apps, their notebooks, their motivational posters. You seize the day, hustle harder. A time is money. You know what time is? Time is time. And you know what money is? A made-up coupon system that runs your nerves into the ground. But people live by these slogans like they're carved into stone tablets handed down from the heavens. And every day it's the same performance. Look busy, stay busy, be busy, because if you're not busy, society acts like you're a defective product. You ever talk to someone and ask how they're doing? The most common answer, they're busy. It's not even an emotion. That's a scheduling conflict. Imagine if a caveman came up to you and asked how life was going. You think he'd say, busy? Hell no. He'd say, alive or hungry. Maybe even running from a bear. That's a real status update. But in the modern world, everyone's got to advertise their busyness. Like it's a badge of honor. Like if you're not busy, you're not valuable. I'm slammed, I'm swamped, I'm buried in work. That's not something to brag about. That's a cry for help disguised as small talk in the to-do list. Oh, the sacred to-do lists. People love writing things down. Not because they'll actually do them, no. Because it gives the illusion of control. You make a list, you feel accomplished already. And what's the first thing people put on the list? Something they've already done. Just so they can cross it off. Wake up. Check. A brush teeth. Check. Congratulations, you're a functioning mammal. The list is longer than a CVS receipt, and by the end of the day, they've accomplished 2 items. Check email and complaint about being busy. The rest gets rolled over to tomorrow, and the cycle continues. And meetings. Don't forget meetings. Meetings are where productivity goes to die. A group of people sitting in a room pretending to solve problems when really they're just moving air molecules around with their mouths. Nothing gets decided, nothing gets done, but by God, it was productive. We had a productive meeting. You ever notice that phrase? It never means anything actually happened. It just means people spoke words near each other for an hour. And the gadgets. Oh, the gadgets designed to boost productivity. Phones, tablets, planners, apps, timers. Whole industries devoted to making sure you squeeze every last drop out of your day. Oh, what do people do with them? Waste time setting them up. You ever see somebody download a new productivity app? They spend 2 hours customizing it, picking fonts, adding categories, setting reminders. By the time they're done, the day's over. Well, at least I'm ready to be productive tomorrow. It's all procrastination dressed in a suit, and then there's multitasking. Multitasking is the biggest scam of all. Hey, people brag about it like it's a superpower. I can do 3 things at once. No, you can do 3 things badly at once. Multitasking is just a fancy way of saying you can't focus. It's juggling, but with emails, phone calls, and coffee mugs. And what happens? You spill the coffee, forget the email, and say the wrong thing on the phone. But hey, at least you were productive. You ever notice how work itself isn't about results anymore? It's about appearances. As long as you look busy, you're golden. That's why people love filling their calendars with nonsense of back-to-back meetings all day. Translation: I accomplished absolutely nothing, but I was visible while accomplishing nothing. Productivity isn't about output, it's about optics. People work longer, not smarter. Because in the cult of productivity, hours matter more than results. That's why you see people bragging about working 12-hour days. I stayed late at the office. Yeah, and did what? Rearrange paper clips? Scrolled through emails like a zombie? Time doesn't equal value. You can sit on a chair for 12 hours too. That doesn't mean you invented the cure for baldness. And then there's the language. Oh, the language of productivity. Maximize efficiency. Optimize workflow. Synergize operation. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? You know what it really means? Oh, we're going to run in circles faster. That's it. That's the whole deal. Make charts, use buzzwords, throw in some graphs with arrows pointing upward, and suddenly everybody thinks progress is happening. You're not moving forward, you're just moving frantically. Like a hamster in a wheel bragging about mileage. And don't get me started on the obsession with goals. Every productivity freak's got goals. Long-term goals, short-term goals, 5-year plans, 10-year visions. Goals for breakfast, goals for fitness, goals for hobbies. Everything's got to be measured, tracked, and optimized. What's your goal? My goal is to stop hearing about goals. My goal is to breathe in and out without turning it into a KPI. People don't live anymore. They project manage their existence. They treat life like it's a boardroom presentation. Milestones, deliverables, action items. No wonder they're stressed. They can't even eat a sandwich without calling it a meal objective. And the funny part? Most people's goals are nonsense anyway. They'll be more productive. That's not a goal. That's a vague guilt trip. It's like saying, be better. Better at what? How? When? No one knows. But they put it on a vision board with a picture of a yacht. and suddenly they're convinced they're hustling toward success. Spoiler alert. The yacht company still wants money, not your vision board. And then there's the obsession with time management. Seminars, books, workshops. People pay good money to learn how to divide their day into smaller boxes. You don't need a seminar. You need common sense. Wake up, do what matters, stop wasting time. But no, people want color-coded calendars and fancy planners. They think buying a $50 notebook will magically cure their procrastination. But procrastination doesn't care about leather covers and gold embossed pages. Procrastination will sit its fat ass right down on your lap and laugh while you highlight a call dentist in 3 different colors. And the workplace loves feeding this productivity obsession. Bosses are addicted to it. They want proof you're working. Not proof you accomplished something, just proof you're busy. That's why open plan offices exist. It's not about collaboration. It's so managers can watch you pretend. If you're typing furiously, you're a hero. Doesn't matter if you're typing all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy 50 times. As long as your fingers are moving, you're valuable. It's theater. Office theater. Everyone's a performer on the grand stage of productivity. And technology was supposed to save us time, wasn't it? Computers, emails, cell phones. They were sold to us as time savers. You know what they did? They created more things to do, faster. Instead of mailing a letter and waiting a week, now you send an email and wait 5 minutes for someone to ask for clarification. Instead of working 9 to 5, now you're reachable 24/7. Productivity didn't improve. The hamster wheel just got an upgrade. Neat? Stainless steel spokes, smoother rotation, faster spin. Same hamster still going nowhere. And then you've got the self-improvement junkies. The ones who wake up at 5 in the morning to get a head start. They meditate, journal, exercise, drink green sludge, and brag about it. They post quotes about grinding and hustling like they've cracked the code of life. But you know what happens by noon? They're just as tired, cranky, and stressed as the rest of us. All that productivity theater, and they still end up binge-watching television at night. Because no matter how optimized you think you are, you're still human. You still get bored, tired, distracted. Productivity doesn't erase humanity. It just puts a stopwatch on it. And what's the end game anyway? What are people being productive for? That's the funniest question of all. Most of them don't even know. They're grinding and hustling, chasing deadlines, filling calendars. But for what? So they can retire one day and sit in a chair staring out the window? Productivity has become its own religion. Nobody asks why. The only commandment is to do more. And when you do more, the reward is, you guessed it, being told to do even more. It's the only system where success just leads to more homework. And the punchline? Most of the truly important things in life can't be measured, tracked, or optimized. Love, laughter, friendship, daydreaming, none of it fits in a spreadsheet. Nobody says, I optimized my hug time this week. But that's the stuff that actually matters. That's the stuff that gives life meaning. Productivity. Productivity just fills the gaps until you realize you've been too busy to live. And here's the kicker. When you die, nobody's going to stand at your funeral and say, he was so productive. They're going to talk about who you were, not what you got done. Nobody remembers the guy who cleared his inbox every day. They remember the guy who made them laugh, who told good stories, who lived like a human being instead of a machine. Productivity doesn't leave a legacy. People do. So the next time somebody brags about how busy they are, just remember, busy doesn't mean alive. It just means occupied. And there's a big difference between filling time and living it.